Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Stitch Sessions. If you're new here, I'm Karen and I love sharing my love of crochet with all of you. So most of what you're going to find on this channel is crafting with all things to do with crochet. In this week's tutorial, we are going to work on this really cute and quick vintage style jar topper. So it just kind of creates a nice little decoration on top of the jar. So there's the plain jar, and there's got a little bit of an elastic band in there, so you can just give it a nice little kind of fancy look. It's also a neat way that you can label your jars without actually putting any labels on the glass. You can create these in different colors and you are good to go. I thought since Easter was around the corner that this would make for a cute little add-on gift in a basket, or even just as part of like a welcome gift or something like that. Cool thing is, this is perfect for busting through your stash. So if you've got some little remnants left over, this will be a perfect project for it. So I'm going to quickly take you through the materials you'll need to create your jar topper, and then we're going to get started stitching it up. Okay, so since I said it was a great stash buster, I've got some leftover cotton yarn. Now I recommend cotton yarn for a project like this because it's perfect for withstanding anything that might come into contact with moisture. Now this particular one is made with a bamboo yarn, which is okay too. But I find cotton will work just as nicely as well. So this was more of a lightweight number 3 yarn that I used here. And this cotton, this is some of that Bernat's Handicrafter cotton that I have left over. So it's considered a medium 4-weight yarn. Okay, so I've got just a little bit here. This is probably maybe 1/4 of a skein. Those little Handicrafter cotton skeins come in just like 50-gram skeins. So I've just got some, I've got some few other little colors here just in case I run out. And then you're going to need an elastic. Now I'm using a hair tie. I find it's a lot easier to work with, to envelop it in your crochet better than a rubber band, because I find the rubber bands will tend to stick to the yarn. And for the hook size for this project, I'm going to be using a 4.5 millimeter hook, which is also known as a G or a size 7. And as always, make sure that you have a yarn needle on hand to weave in any ends and a pair of scissors to snip your yarn. Now, by the way, I am getting over a cold, so those of you that know me or know the sound of my voice will notice that my voice is a little bit kind of funny right now just because I'm slowly getting my voice back. If it irritates you to hear me throughout this video, please feel free to press the mute button and click your closed captions, and that way you can read what I'm saying and the sound of my voice will not be grating for you. So hopefully it doesn't bother you too much and we can get on with our project. So let's get started. So we're going to begin by placing a cinch circle and then pulling it through. So a cinch circle is, for those of you that are a little newer, is basically like a slip knot. You're going to bring that yarn around and you're not going to resolve the slip knot. You're going to insert your hook, pull the yarn through, but don't cinch it shut. We're actually going to hold it. It's going to be a little awkward at the beginning. And you're going to chain 3. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so you have something just like that. And then you have your little tail there. And this is your cinch circle, also known as a magic ring. And we are going to work into this circle right now. So this chain 3 will count as a double crochet stitch. What you're going to do now is you're going to chain 1 more. And that is going to count as a space. And you'll see why in a moment. What we're going to do next is we're going to place a double crochet inside this ring. So you'll yarn over, insert into the ring, pull up a loop, and you'll resolve like a regular double crochet. You'll pull through 2 and then pull through 2. So right now you've got something that looks like this. So basically the chain 3 counts as a double crochet, the chain 1 is a spacer, and then you've got a double crochet there. Okay, so we're going to do that again. You're now going to chain 1, and then again back into the ring you're going to double crochet. just like that. So each double crochet is going to have a chain 1 in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a total of 12 of these into this ring. So you're going to have 12 double crochets and 12 chain 1s. So this chain 3, remember, it does count as a double crochet. So go ahead and do that, and I'm going to meet up with you when we're coming up to the 12th double crochet. So remember, you're going to double crochet and then chain 1. And keep repeating until you've done that 12 times. Okay, so I've done 12 double crochets and 12 chain 1s in between each. So I've just chained 1, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little tail and I'm going to pull on it, and it's going to cinch my center shut. Just like that. Don't be afraid to pull tight. There you go. And now we're going to close the round by finding the top of our 3rd chain, which is right there, and we are going to slip stitch. And that will join our round. So round number 1 is complete. Okay, so technically we have 24 stitches in round number 1. So the double crochets count as 1, and then each one has a chain 1. So you might notice, and I'm going to bring this one back out here. So round 1, so see round 1 over here? It's a lot smaller than this one. And so this is why I wanted to use a different weight of yarn, because I wanted you to be aware that if you're using a different weight yarn, you are going to get different sizing. So now if you've got something with a larger lid and you specifically want to go larger, then definitely use a heavier weight yarn and a larger hook size. So because this size is pretty much already gotten to the same size as round 2 here, we're going to go ahead and skip to this round here. So just in case you see the pictures and you go, one has more rounds than the other, that is why. Now this will follow the basic principles of doing a granny circle. So if you haven't seen my tutorial on crocheting a granny circle, I will leave a link for that in the description box down below. That way you can size your circle as large or as small as you like. So we're going to go into round 2 now. And we're going to begin by slip stitching into the space. So we're going to slip stitch into that space. And now what we're going to do is we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we are going to place another double crochet into that same space. So technically you're going to have 2 stitches coming out of the chain space. So you have something like that. Okay. And now we're going to move into the next space right there, and we are going to place 2 double crochets. And that is pretty much what we're going to do all the way around. So you've got little clusters here. So you've got 2 double crochets. That chain 3 counts as 1, 2 double crochets. Then I find the next chain space and I do the same thing. And you're going to do that all the way around. And you will still have 24 stitches. Okay, so I'm coming up to the end here, and I've just finished placing my last 2 double crochets in the last chain space. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the top of my chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch to join my round, and round number 2 is complete. Okay, so you have something that looks like that. And now we're going to move on to round number 3. So for round number 3, what we're going to do is we're actually going to slip stitch into the next stitch. And then we're going to slip stitch into the space between. So you see where I'm going? I'm trying to find the cluster. I'm trying to find the space between these 2 clusters. So I'm going to slip stitch into that space. Okay. From here, we chain 3 again. 1, 2, and 3, and that's going to count as a double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1, And then we are going to go and find the next space between these two clusters. So in the last row, we didn't do a chain one between each one. So we just want to find the space in between the V's. And so we're going to go into there and we're going to place a shell stitch, which is 3 double crochets. So we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. Okay, so you have something that looks like that. And don't worry about this little guy here. We're going to take care of him when we come back around. So you're then going to chain 1, and you're going to find the next little spot. So you can see there. So there's that little V, and then there's this space. And so I'm going to place my shell stitch there. And that always consists of 3 double crochets. And that's basically the pattern for round number 3. Okay, so there's my 3. I chain 1, and then I move along to the next space. So you can see how that's working out. So go ahead and do that for round number 3. Okay, so I've made my way around to the end, and so now I'm back to the beginning. Remember when we just did that chain 3 and then a chain 1? Well, that counts as a double crochet, so we need to place 2 more double crochets in here to finish off our shell. And so we've got 1 and we've got 2. And I like working my beginning and end of granny circles like this because it really hides where the seam is of your circle. And as you can see, I'm just coming up to the end of my yarn here. So now I'm going to find the top of that chain 3 and I'm going to slip stitch to join. Now because I've run out of my yellow, I'm going to start using my white, and chances are I'm going to run out. So you might see a few other colors here. So okay, so I'm going to slip stitch to join, but I'm going to insert my hook. Instead of pulling through the yellow, I'm actually going to pull through the new color just to make it look nice and smooth. So I'm going to pull that through. Just like that. And I'm going to chain 1. Okay, so round number 3 is complete, and I have 36 stitches. Now I'm not counting the chain 1s in between. I'm just counting the double crochet stitch. Now, if I were to take my little jar here, and by the way, these two, I know it looks smaller, but these 2 lids are actually the exact same size. This is the thing with a lot of mason jars. Even though the jars themselves can be different sizes, like this one is definitely a lot smaller than this one, you'll notice that the lids are fairly universal, okay? So now when I place this over, so this circle here, see it's just starting to curve, which is perfect because now is the time when we are going to introduce our elastics. I'm just going to bring my little hair elastic here. And so for this round, we are just going to do single crochets for round number 4. And so I've chained 1 here, and now I'm just going to have my little hair tie just kind of pressed up against my circle here. So I'm going to go into the chain space here, and I'm going to single crochet. But what I want to do is I want to make sure I trap this hair tie in there. So see, as I pull that through, the band gets trapped in there. So I pull that up and I single crochet. Okay, and now I do that into each and every single stitch, including the chain spaces. So the next stitch is right here. I'm going to insert, and again, trapping that band in there, and then I pull up a loop. See how that's getting stuck in there? And single crochet. And like I said, you're going to do that all the way around. And you might have to stretch out your band. And actually, you're going to notice that your circle here is going to start to bunch in. That's exactly what we want. So just like we have here, see, it kind of looks like a little cap for a doll, but that's actually the effect that we want. This is what helps the topper stay secured to your jar. So 1 single crochet into every single stitch all the way around for round number 4. Okay, I just wanted to pop on here before I finish this round. I wanted you to see that this is what's going to happen. So see, the tie is actually much more cinched in than this circle, so it's causing it to curl. And you're probably going to feel like, I don't have any room. This is normal. See, I've got some tails in there. So don't panic. This is more for you newer crocheters there. So all you're going to do, see it stretches, you just keep pushing your stitches back and you continue on. And so you continue placing it over the band. So nothing to worry about. Okay, and I've finished my last stitch here. So I'm now going to slip stitch to join to the very first one. And again, I'm right down to my last bit. Look at that. Used up my scraps, which I'm very happy about. So I'm just actually going to chain one to fasten off. I've got a lot of little tails I have to sew in there. But so you see you've got something that looks like a little cap. So I'm just going to bring my jar here and there you go. So you can leave yours like this if you want, but I really like to add this little frill at the end. So that's what I'm going to show you to do. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, and round number 4 was just the single crochets with your band. And so round number 5 is going to be our finishing round, and that's what's going to give us this cute little frill here. And so actually I am going to bring back this bamboo yarn, and I'm just going to add it to this, which will be perfect Easter colors. It tends to be the purples and the yellows and the whites. So now this one is a finer yarn, as you can see, so it will look different, but as the trim, it's not going to affect anything to do with the functionality of this item. So I'm just going to find a spot somewhere around here, and I am going to just insert my hook, and I'm going to pull through. Now what you can do too is you can put a slip knot on your hook and then slip stitch to join, but I do that sometimes, but here I like to just throw that over and chain one. So now I've secured that, and then I can work over this little tail or weave it in at the end. Okay, so for the last round here, we are going to chain 2 more. So we have 3 chains. And then right back into that same stitch, we are going to double crochet right back into that same stitch. Okay. Now, in this one, because the whole thing was done in lighter, in number 3 weight yarn, all we did was we placed 2 double crochets into every single stitch. Hopefully you can see that there. And so by packing this in with extra stitches, that's what creates it the look of the ripple. Okay. Now, because this is a medium weight 4, it's slightly thicker, and we're using this lightweight number 3 to do the ripple, I think we will need an extra stitch to create the same ripple effect against this thicker yarn. So what we're going to do here is we're going to place 3 double crochets. Okay. You might think, Karen, why are you giving us all these details? Because I like to do examples like this, because you may run into that situation where you're going to look at mine and you're going to go, how come mine doesn't look anything like how hers came out? And so this is why sometimes I like using 2 different, or making at least 2 of things, because this is a different weight of yarn. So that way you'll know not to panic, that it's normal, and how to go about doing that. So if you did this whole project in a lightweight number 3, your last round is just going to be 2 double crochets into every single stitch. But because mine was a thicker weight, and now I'm going down to a lighter weight yarn, I'm going to place 3. So that chain 3 counts as 1, and then I've got 2 more that I put in there. And then that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the very next stitch, and which is right there. And I'm going to place 3 double crochet stitches, and that's it. Nothing too crazy, but it creates a really cool look. So there's 2, and then I have 1 more in there. So you probably won't notice anything until you've got a few stitches in. So this is where my slip knot is. So I'm going to go into that right there. I'm going to work over that tail. And 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and you can see a little bit, it's starting to ripple a little bit, okay? So you're going to do that all the way around, 3 double crochets into every single stitch. Okay, I've got 1 more stitch left right there. So I'm going to do my last shell, and then we are pretty much complete. So here's my second one, and then my third. Okay, then I'm going to find the top of that, chain 3, or I can even just go to the top of this first stitch here, and I'm going to slip stitch to join. And we are complete. See how much it's rippling? Look at how cute that is. Now, if you wanted to, depending on the size of your circle, if you want to do another round with maybe just single crochets, just to kind of give it a little bit of length, you can do that as well. I'm just going to stop here, and I'm going to snip my yarn and then pull that through. And we are done. And there is your jar topper. And now with the colors, it really does look like a little hat. Actually, if you're into making clothes for dolls or accessories for dolls, this would make a really, really cute doll hat. So this is where I take my jar and I place it over. And there we have it. Another cute little jar topper. And again, I'm going to take this one here, this larger jar, and I'm going to fit that over there. And as you can see, perfecto. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? There you go. So you've got that one, and then you've got this little guy here. And your jar toppers are done. I have to just sew in this little tail here. So there you go, guys. I hope you found that really fun to do. And as you can see in the different colors, you can really get creative with this. And maybe you want to fill this up with some chocolates, candies like I have here. You might even do something like tea, like really nice tea bags in here, especially if you're going to do this as a gift, like maybe a housewarming gift or a welcome to the neighborhood gift. This would be super, super cute. And again, like I said, because Easter's around the corner, I thought this was a nice, cute, and quick add-on for any gift. Now, if you guys have any further questions about today's tutorial, make sure to leave it for me in the comment box down below. You know that you can also email me directly at info@crochetcrafty.com. Don't forget, come visit me on the website, crochetcrafty.com, where you'll find lots of goodies. There's some free written patterns on there, and it'll give you a link to my Etsy shop for other patterns. And don't forget to sign up for my monthly newsletter, where I gift you a free written pattern every single month for coming along and checking out what we're doing. Now, the newsletter generally will contain extra behind the scenes photos of a lot of the projects that I do on the channel, because sometimes it's nicer to just have a closer look at a still shot of the project. So you can check that out on the website as well. And by the way, are you guys on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Come say hi to me. You can find me at The Stitch Sessions. And if you haven't enjoyed this tutorial and you are new here, I invite you to press that subscribe button. Come hang out with me every Wednesday morning when I upload a brand new tutorial. Now, don't forget, this is the last week of March, so that means next week is April. And for those of you that are my regulars, you know that the first Wednesday of every month is a project to do with our crochet series, and this year our series is called Pillow Talk. So the first Wednesday of every month, I work on a brand new crochet pillow project. So stay tuned for that coming up next week. So in the meantime, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. Happy crocheting, and I will see you guys in next week's session. Bye-bye.